Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. We're going to start discussing tonight about phase four of Real Man Walk. Phase four, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can count.
So this one is not wasn't in the book. This was something that uh, came up through talking with a few men. We had a gentleman that was getting married. He was getting married for the second time in our church,
And
and
marriage is a game changer.
yes, it is. And so we thought it was going to be important for us as men to pour into him. And so men are pouring into a man, a grown man, on what it's like to, or what is a godly husband. And so we did this reverse style. We did it reverse opposite one. So stage one, we took the burden out. On stage four, we added the burden in. So he starts with an empty backpack, and each man adds a burden to him, and then we went on from there.
Well, the difference being we've got your back as you grow up versus this is a responsibility that is all yours.
Sure, sure. So, and you've been through this twice. So, you want to talk about Daniels?
I can talk about Daniels. We just did this last week. Like all walks, I kept it a secret until it was time to start. And once again, Daniel and I had errands to run.
I love these errands.
And I did one errand, and then I drove him out to the reservoir. And all this time, I'm talking to him about mistakes that his mother and I made early on in marriage. Parked at the reservoir, told him he knew what was coming up, handed him an empty backpack, and I pulled two bricks out from the back of my truck. One of them was a solid brick, the other one was a brick with the standard 8 holes in it. I looked at those, solid bricks mine. I've already made my decisions, I've got to live with them. One's with the holes. His decisions have not been made yet. He has to fill those in. I dropped that into his backpack, prayed for him, and then I took him to the next man that I had set up, introduced this gentleman, explained to Dan that he's been married for 24 years. If he should use anybody as an example, use this man. And that continued all through the walk. That man ran into another guy who'd been married for 26 years, who ran into another guy who turned out to be Dan's future father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
They've been married for 30 years. And then I had his brother-in-law who just got married 2 years ago as one of the last people, talking with him about the problems that you can encounter moving in with somebody.
Oh, yeah. Those are numerous. So, yep. And you want to talk about how you finished?
We finished up here at the house. While we were gone, my wife had taken my son's fiance out to the flower garden. And I can't give all the details because I wasn't there, but a couple of women from the church showed up and they weeded the flower garden. And at this same time, my wife talked to her about tending to a marriage is a lot like tending to a flower garden, as far as making sure there's fertilizer, making sure there's water, keeping a boundary straight. And then we came inside. Once again, I introduced my friends, made comments about them, just lifted them up. And then I asked if they thought that Daniel was ready for marriage. I asked my daughter if Allie would make a good sister-in-law. And then I got the opportunity to ask Allie's dad if he approved of this union. And shortly after that, the best part of them, food.
Yeah. I did like that touch. I did not do that with Zachy. Zachy and Maddie, I didn't go around asking if they thought that they were mature enough or if they had any reservations. But I like that touch.
That kind of puts my friends and my family on the spot, but that reassures me that they can openly say, I like this guy's attitude. I think she's good for him. Or in the case of the dads, we approve.
Yeah. So, Zachy's was about the same way. So was Nate's, your son-in-law's.
Yes.
So one thing I did different with Zachy was I did ask him and Maddie how many kids that they wanted to have. So not only did he get weighed down because of all the aspects of being a husband, or what we'd already poured into him, but he got weighed down because he wanted 4 kids, so he got 4 additional bricks. He got 1 additional brick for his wife, and he got 1 additional brick for his job. So he's got 6 bricks already, and I told you that they're already about 7 to 8 pounds a piece, and I just added another 6 to him. So this poor kid
Staggering.
is, yes, staggering. Then nice touch. We did, like you, we met, the bride and groom met for me at the altar, for you here. But they came together, and we explained what we were doing. We explained what happened before everybody had seen Zachy walking in, why Zachy looked so tired. And the hilarious part is both of them, both the brides at this point are just looking at their spouse and or spouse to be, why are you so tired? Well, give us a second. And we made them both tired, didn't we? So
yeah.
We gave both the brides baskets, bags, backpacks, however they're going to carry these burdens, and we had a long list of whatever the wife is going to be known as, booger pickers to baby dog, puppy dog take care of, reverse psychologist, wrestling referees, just
Boo boo kisser.
yeah. So just all kinds of names, just trying to have some fun. But it also gave us a chance to, one, bless them with some gifts that they're going to need for their new house, and it also gave us an opportunity to give her burdens and weigh her down, just so she can feel this and realize that it's her job too.
Now, John took an interesting twist and had his son take half the burdens off of his future wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a fine gesture, but I went with Galatians 6:2, where you need to uphold each other and help each other with the burdens. So I had them swap to where the girl was wearing the backpack filled with the bricks, and he was holding the laundry basket filled with goods.
Yep. And I just went with half because there are some burdens that she's just going to have to bear. Zachy, even though Zachy's job is to be her job is to be a helpmate, and his job is to ease her burdens. There's just some things that she's not going to be able to give up. She's going to have to bear some of them.
And a good illustration is there are some burdens that we can't bear, even as a couple. That's when Christ comes in.
Yep.
In the example we had, each one of them was weighed down with burdens. But Christ said, "Come to me, those who are heavy burdened. I'll give you rest." And the men would go up and take the weights off the couples.
Yep. And women for the bride and men for the, and both times. I think every time that I've had that, there's been an audible, which is kind of awesome. I mean, it's just to see God working through this.
Now, when we did my son-in-law's, he never grew up with men like me and John. His family was completely different than the people that I hang around. But when I dragged him out and tossed him out of the truck with a backpack and a brick and prayed for him, by the time he got to the end, he was pretty well loaded down.
Mm-hmm.
But he was extremely grateful because he saw that his future father-in-law cared for him to the point where his future father-in-law's friends were pouring into his life. So a word of encouragement, if you don't have kids to walk through this with, if your kids are grown already, but there's a younger man that's in your church, in your neighborhood, somebody that you get along with, start pouring into their life like this. It means the world to them.
It does. And well, that's how this phase started. I mean, it wasn't my kids. It wasn't your kids.
Yeah.
This
It
was
was
a grown man that we
Grown man.
that we decided we wanted to pour into, and we came up with through research, through reading, prayer, we came up with something that we thought was going to be adequate. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We showed that man love. We showed him what it was meant to be a husband. One of the things when I picked his men, I wanted people that had been married 10 plus years. Nothing wrong with people that had been married less. As I and you have both added newly married couples. But when I was doing his, I thought it was important for that longevity. You know, people that had withstand the time. They've seen some struggles. If you've been married 10 years and you're still married, you've seen some struggles. And you've withstood them and you've dealt with them. But with our kids, we added in those younger marrieds because you've been married 30 years. I've been married 26. We forget what it was like those first couple of years, and those are the toughest years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So those struggles need to be talked about, and so you started this off talking about pouring into somebody else if you don't have kids. Pour into somebody. It doesn't matter. So one thing that I did with Zachy and Maddie is I'd asked her dad to be part of this as well as you, but we had blessed the marriage. We'd had the two up on the altar, and then the four of us, the four parents, gathered around and literally prayed a blessing over them, and then we finished with food. So it was a great night. So anything else to add, Chris?
I don't believe so. Any questions, any comments? SWAT 612.
Sweet.